Hey, what's up guys? It's Aaron. I have a problem and I don't know what to do about it. I drive a Massey Ferguson tractor, but I only have a John Deere hat. I'm totally kidding. That is not the problem. The problem is that after driving this thing for about 30 minutes, you see the tractor behind me. After about 30 minutes, it sputters and coughs and dies. And then I wait about 5 minutes and then it starts right back up. So I did a lot of research, and the easiest thing to check was, is fuel actually getting to the carburetor? So I didn't record this part because I don't know how to film and get gas on my hands and all of that stuff at the same time. So what I did was I disconnected the fuel filter and I opened the valve on the sediment bowl, and it just barely trickled out. So I then unscrewed the whole sediment bowl thing, and all this gunk came out of the gas tank in the gas. Let me show you. Hopefully it's focused. So much gunk in there. That is not good. So what I've got, I have to use a flashlight so the camera will focus. I've got the sediment bowl right there, if it'll focus on it. And I've got the rest of it right there. The screen on this thing was full of dirt when I took it out also. So I've got a couple of options. I can either use muriatic acid or vinegar to clean out the gas tank. I've seen some videos of people strapping their gas tank full of nuts and bolts to a different tractor rear wheel and then spinning it around, but I don't have another tractor. I don't really want to take the gas tank all the way off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to soak the sediment bowl in vinegar, and I got some baking soda to neutralize the acid. I'm probably going to let it sit overnight, maybe a day, maybe two. And then I got a bunch of distilled water to flush out the tank. I read that distilled water is less prone to rust than just regular water from the hose. Unfortunately, my air compressor crapped out yesterday, so I can't blow it out unless I either use a leaf blower or a hair dryer on cool or something like that. So the better way to do this would obviously be to get some muriatic acid, take the gas tank off, clean it out really well, get some red coat or something and coat the inside of it. I'm not going to do that because we've decided that we need a tractor with a loader this year. So I'm going to sell this for what I paid for it, if I can, and then go shop for a used tractor with a loader in the $10,000 to $12,000 range. So I'm going to tell whoever buys this thing there was a problem with the gas tank. I did my best, but you might want to have a look at it. New gas tank's around $200 to $230 online. So let's get some stuff. It's a kitten milk container. I'm going to put the sediment bowl and the rest of it in there. This screen on top, that's what goes into the gas tank. That actually was full of dirt as well. I may need to open up a couple of things. I probably should find a new gasket for this. It's very, I just broke it. I will have to get a new gasket for it. So I'll just go ahead and take that off and I'll pick one up tomorrow or something. All right, so sediment bowl is already in there. I'm going to gently place this in there also. Now I got to take the screw off first. This little screw right here, when you empty your sediment bowl and then you turn your gas back on, you open this and it lets the gas flow into the sediment bowl and fill it up. It's kind of a, what do they call that, a release or something? I'm just going to take this out and just soak the whole thing in vinegar. Smells great. This is just regular vinegar. I heard apple cider works too, maybe a little bit better, but I'm just gonna try this and see. So now I've got to hold this bucket right here and pour the water in the gas tank. This could go poorly. I should have brought a funnel. I probably should have put a hose on for this part. Thought it was done. It's not going to hurt anything. All right, let's take a look at this water now. Look at that nastiness. No way I'm going to be able to, to reuse the water. All right, let's take a look at this one. This is much cleaner than the other one. You could actually see the bottom of the bucket. I think it's getting better. It's not going to be perfect. It would probably be the best if I was going to do this, if I plugged the bottom of it and actually filled the tank up totally. But I feel like when the thing was just sitting, before I bought it, all of the stuff was probably on the bottom of the tank. So I think this is probably going to be good enough. We won't really know unless I can get a look inside, which I probably can't, or until I can actually fire it up and drive it around for more than 30 minutes to see if it dies. Once we put the sediment bowl back on there, we should be able to see if there's any sediment in there. That should give us some clues also. So I might do this one more time, and then I'll meet you back like tomorrow or something, and we'll take a look at the sediment bowl assembly and make sure that everything flows through that as it should, and get a new gasket. That was my air compressor broke and I needed to dry out the gas tank. I basically just cut a hole in the middle of the Dr. Pepper box. Just like that. And then I put the fans blowing toward the middle. And I don't know where I got these things. I've had them since college. I'm an IT guy, so they're just probably server fans that I rewired. And we had really terrible air conditioning in the dorms my freshman year, so that was my air conditioner. I hung one on, actually hang both of them on one side of the bed and just blew air across it. So I went to Tractor Supply. I got a new screen and a new gasket for the sediment bowl. Let me put you on the tripod and then I'll show you what I got. Okay, so the first thing I got is this kind of gasket sealant for the threads. When I screw the sediment bowl back up into the tank, I wanted to make sure that it doesn't leak because that's bad. And then I got this. Tractor Supply has this. It's like, I don't know, $3, and it's got the gasket and the screen. The gasket is actually cork, and I just used a nail to scrape the old one out of the thingamajig. And I actually took it with me to the place to make sure that I got the right one. They have some that, this one's for, you may be able to read it if it'll focus, Massey and Ford. And then they've got other ones for Case and IH and Farmall and stuff like that. So all we really should have to do is put the screen in and then work the gasket in, and that should do it. I didn't end up soaking this for more than about 5 hours. It occurred to me that the fuel shut off, which is right here, it might have a little rubber piece in there. I didn't want it to disintegrate or anything. And then let me show you the fuel bowl. This thing got so clean. I don't know if I have a before shot of it, but there was paint on the outside from when the guy painted the tractor, and there was a bunch of gunk on the inside. And I just took like a little Brillo pad after I took it out of the vinegar, and I scrubbed it a little bit, and then I rinsed it off in the baking soda, and it was all good. So I want to go ahead and put this together before I screw it into the gas tank, just because I want to make sure the sediment bowl goes on like it's supposed to. Need to screw that back in, and then we just stick our bowl there. There's my other piece. And there we go, good as new. They actually sell this whole thing. Tisco makes one and somebody else makes one, but they got really terrible reviews about the gasket leaking around the sediment bowl. So I just opted to try to reuse this one first and get the new gasket for the sediment bowl and the new screen. And hopefully, I don't see any reason why it won't work. So I'm gonna put this thing on and then we'll see what happens. All right, hopefully it's not too dark. I got the other little camera set up on the ball joint up here, shooting at where I'm screwing it into the gas tank. I actually had to remove the rear screws so I could slide it over a little bit to unscrew this thing. And it won't screw in if the little fuel shutoff valve is all the way out. I just put a little bit on the threads, and hopefully that'll do it. The existing stuff will probably work. I just don't want to take the chance. Like I said, I don't want to have a fuel leak. Hopefully that'll do it. Let's angle that a little bit. I did not get new fuel lines. I think these are probably new enough that they'll be okay. But if not, I mean, they're cheap enough. All right, I'm not gonna put a ton of gas in, just probably like half a gallon. Make sure that nothing leaks, and then go from there. I don't see any sediment in there yet. I don't see any leaks. So I'm gonna fire it up. So now it's time for the public service announcement. Never start your tractor unless you're on it. This one is not supposed to start unless it's in neutral. But if it was ever in gear and it did fire up and I was standing next to it, that's how you get run over. Might have to jump this thing with a 0 turn. I've actually had to do that a couple of times when it died out in the field. All right, guys, so I don't know if you caught that. My lift lever was up, so when I started the tractor, it lifted the brush hog and it rolled back a little bit, which caused the hood to close on the jumper cables. So I guess add that to your list of things to do. A, make sure your butt's in the seat, and B, make sure your lift is down, and obviously, you need to put it in neutral. So I let that thing run for a while, and the battery, I don't think it got any charge at all. The alternator is hot. So I disconnected the battery cables and I cleaned up them and the terminals and made sure it's good metal to metal contact. For whatever reason, the guy painted those when he painted the rest of the tractor. Yet another thing I wish he hadn't painted. But I haven't run it since I've done that. So we got to go to get some tomato plants and stuff this afternoon. I'll probably pick up a battery charger since I need one anyway. And then I'll go from there. But I'm gonna call the fuel problem good. I've got very little, if any, sediment in that bowl right now. And that part, I think, is solved. So I kind of feel like the dude dressed up a pig for the prom. Just a bunch of little problems, or a couple or 3 little problems. On their own, not that big of a deal, but you add them all together, and it really affects your productivity. So if you got similar experiences with old tractors like this, leave me a comment. I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.